Yeah, muted there. Okay, now we're up.
Hello, David.
Hey, Kurt.
Welcome to the ArtStreamLIVE, November 16th,
Yep.
2019 Webisode.
Mm-hmm.
And tonight's a special one. You know, we're a cutting edge. We try to keep up with things in our culture.
That's
and
right.
Our culture update, like it says there. Call your friends. Let them know.
That's
We'll
right.
be on the air.
Yep.
So tonight we have a special cultural update. Going to cover some things going on in our area
I'm
here
so
that I
excited.
hope the folks would enjoy getting to watch tonight.
From the Museum of What's Happening Now.
And hopefully some people are excited, like it said right there. So this is a fun little opening. You know, I want to get a little glitzy for us tonight. Our name looks good in lights, and I like the fact that, you know, we are cutting edge. So I thought I'd make a fun little thing to begin with. And like it says there, you know, we
bring folks together.
We do bring folks
That's
together
right.
at ArtStreamLIVE. So.
Well, we're trying to get this going streaming live. We've had some problems with
check this out.
the software interface. So I am looking at my Facebook, YouTube, trying to see if
well, it ain't.
it doesn't seem to be.
We'll have to upload it then.
But
maybe these folks can help us in the flying saucer there. I don't know.
yeah, we need some
50 saucers.
I don't know. It says waiting for organist 777.
Oh well. We'll just have to take this and upload it. That's what we can do. But we are up and recording, so that's good to know.
Yeah.
And, excuse me. You know, we were going to blast off with our stream live, I thought, tonight, too, for fun.
Yeah.
And it was fun, you know, we're in the 9th
Engage.
We've got one more month to go, and we'll actually celebrate our 9th year anniversary, which I cannot believe.
That's amazing. Yeah.
So that'll be fun.
Well, it says it's supposed to start at 6 p.m. and it's definitely past 6
It's
p.m.
past 6 p.m., but we got Big Buck dropping in on us tonight, too.
Oh,
right
hey,
now.
Bug Buck.
So Big Buck's in there with us tonight. So we had a little plug by Big Buck. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and we can get started. We'll go into that first slide and introduce folks to our cultural update for tonight.
I guess I'll forget the live stream.
I would forget the live stream. And
Here we go.
All right. So we thought we'd feature some new exhibitions at the Mobile Museum of Art. Now, these did all open up in October, and we'd already done our webcast for that month.
Right.
So these are some upcoming, well, they're actually open, but they're exhibitions right now. And this is a pretty neat one. I like this one a lot. It has to do with the local history of Mobile, but it's a special kind of history. So let's go ahead and show them what we got there. It's the show's called From Fort to Port and Beyond. And it's an architectural history of Mobile. And it's organized by the museum, and that's our guest curator. He's an architectural historian, Cart Blackwell. And they're going to explore, like I said, Mobile's history. And it's it's actually one of the 20 cities in the country that's been continuously lived in for like over 200 years, which I thought was kind of neat to know.
Yeah.
And it's a timeline that shows a timeline of photographs and models and architectural plans, maps, elevations, building materials, parts of buildings, videotaped interviews. All this is in the show, spanning Mobile's unique history. And the next one, I got a neat little video intro that Cart did, so let's share that one.
There we go.
Architecture is not only the most expressive and experienced of the fine arts, truly where we live, work, and play, but through its very nature encompasses the other fine arts of painting and sculpture. When you think about it, architecture is much more than a stage set of daily life. It is history, and history the way it should be. It's storytelling. The history of Mobile architecture takes you from our beginning days as a colonial port through our golden ages of the antebellum era, post-bellum era, the turn of the century, and modernism in its various forms. It is first and foremost a story of Mobile as a people as patrons, clients, architects, builders, interior designers. It is the story of who we are and where we're going.
Okay.
All right, so that's a little introduction by Cart, and that video actually plays in the gallery, and it's a pretty long video. If I remember, it's about an hour and 15 minutes, but it covers everything in architectural history. And actually, the exhibition starts out with what they call the indigenous architecture, which were the Native Americans.
Right.
And this is where the show actually opens up, and there's a neat mural back there. But these are like Mississippi Indians, and that's actually a model made by a gentleman named Dwayne Knight that's actually reconstructed based on the architecture that they've been able to find through archaeology studies. So that's how the exhibition begins. And then you get into a period of where you've got houses in the 1820s to the 1830s. So the exhibition's set up basically in a chronological order. Now, there are two levels to the exhibition. This is in the Maisel Gallery, which is on the ground floor, or actually first floor. And it's all 19th century in that location.
Right.
Now, one of the things I wanted to show in that one slide, the color slide, those are actually lampposts that are made of bronze. Very heavy, fun to move. Down in the bottom left corner is the old post office. It used to be downtown and Custom House, and those were sitting outside of it. So we've actually got them in the exhibition. Now, the glass has been long gone. It was in the globes. But we do have the actual bronze post. So I thought that was something fun to show folks. So now we get into the next one, and we're going into houses in the 1840s to the 1850s. And we've got use of some big vinyl graphics, like there's a gigantic map of Mobile back in that time period up there on the wall. And then there's architectural objects that are actually in the exhibition. Now, down on that bottom right slide, you notice the big round disc?
Yeah.
That's a 5.5-foot wide plaster ornament that used to hang on the ceiling.
Yeah.
Talk about heavy. You didn't want that thing to come down.
Nope.
And that came from the History Museum here in Mobile. So that's part of what's in the exhibition. A piece of wrought iron up on the wall on the right there. So there's a lot to see in this.
Okay.
So and then like we're going to be now, we get into the houses in the 1860s and 1890s. Well, actually, we went backwards, so we're not on the right slide.
Okay. No, we didn't. There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Now that happened.
Okay, so now we're in the houses in the 1860s, 1890s, and these are some house images from that particular time period. Now, that piece of wood structure is a supporting arch that's located, that came out of the St. John's Church. And it's kind of a segue into the next slide. It's on that part of the show, but it takes people into the next area, which we'll go into, which are places of worship. And that's actually a model of a church that was in Africa Town.
Yeah.
And these are different churches and places of worship that are in this gallery. And there's some more examples of them there. So a lot of frame photographs, oils too. And it's a fascinating show to me. Now we get into public buildings. So we kind of separate it by categories too. Different public buildings. We actually have a column piece there on the bottom left, and over on the bottom right we've got a cornice from a building on display. So these are actual objects that have come from these different locations and these different houses.
It's a corbel.
All right, thank you. Very good. So
the builder in me.
That's good. Well, you knew that. All right. Now, I like this Vinville Square. Now, on that color photograph in the back, there's a actual 8-foot by about 12-foot vinyl photo mural of that image there, and that's like from the 1890s.
Wow.
A neat old photograph. And that's the fountain down in Vinville Square. So then we're going to get into commercial buildings, and we've got like this, one of the images. Now down on the bottom left corner of the photograph is actually architecture tied to Mardi Gras. And that black and white photo to the right of it there is an actual building where one of the organizations met. The next one in the middle is actually a brewery that had been in Mobile. So how about that, huh? So we got it broke down to commercial buildings. Now, the show, like I said, goes up to the next level, which is the mezzanine level in the museum. And we have an area for Africa Town and Cujo Lewis. Now, Cujo Lewis is one of the second to the last known survivors of the Atlantic slave trade between Africa and the United States. And together with 115 other African captives, he was brought illegally to the United States on board the ship Tilda in 1860. So we've got a little area showing where he lived, a church in Africa Town. And there was actually a little model constructed that's kind of based on his home where he lived. So we have that on there on the mezzanine level to start off. Now everything up here gets into the 20th century, and we have a area dedicated to homes. And this particular house is over in the Sky Ranch section of Mobile off Highway 90 subdivision over there. It's called the Brigant's House. And it's a unique style from the 50s. And what we've also got in the cases are objects that would have been the kind of things that would have been in the home.
Right.
So these are houses from the 20th century.
Right.
It's a neat house. Then we get into commercial buildings in the 20th century. The Van Antwerp building, the Merchants Bank building. Then down on the bottom left, we've got some images of children, young men, young ladies, and the next picture is actually a cotton mill in Mobile. Now the good news is people went out to check on these children. Mobile actually had a very high rating for treating the children well. Labor laws weren't really in practice yet, but the children here were treated pretty good.
Right.
So I was glad to hear that. So that section's there. Then we get into places of worship, and this is the big image there on the top left is a Spring Hill Temple. And these are actually objects that were loaned by the temple in the case, in different places of worship there. So this is all up on the mezzanine level for the Fort Port and Beyond exhibition. All right, then lastly we get into public buildings. We've actually got an area showing the new federal courthouse that was constructed, Murphy High School, Bellingrave Gardens, and then public library down there.
Right.
So these are all things that are up on that section. So this is all part of the Fort to Port exhibition, and this exhibition is going to be up through April the 19th. It's now open.
So they have plenty of time.
They got plenty of time.
No excuses.
But they got time to go see it more than once. So
Right.
now this is another show that opened up at the same time on October the 11th. Ki Suk Jeon. She's a Korean artist. And like it says in there talking about her, she does these immaculate sculptured objects of they're inspired by traditional Korean garments. And she's actually she's one of the people that actually hand makes clothing for people, custom fitted from beginning to finish. So that's something she works on. And there's more information about her on the website, mobilemuseumofart.com.
Right.
But she is from Korea. She's internationally known. She has exhibited all over the world. She's especially noted for costume work she did for the Olympics that happened in South Korea.
Right.
So this is her exhibition, which we've opened up. And it's in our Rodney Aging Gallery. And here's some examples of her work. And like I said, they're made with wire and beads. And they're incredible. They hang suspended. And so it's fun to look at. And they kind of glitter and glide. Oh, not glide. Glamour. Glitter. Can't talk. But they have iridescent beads that reflect the light. And so the lighting in them is very important to give the appearance. So these are just some more examples of different things she's done with them. Like I said, based on the traditional clothing of Korea. And these were all loaned from, I've got it down on that first slide, a gallery out of New Orleans. So I'm trying to remember their name, and I don't recall it right
Let's
now.
see.
But
We can go back to that first
yeah,
slide.
that's the first one with her. There you go. Should be down on the bottom left corner down there. Right.
Let's see. Callan Contemporary, New Orleans.
And they're located, they're the ones that loaned all these artworks for us to have the exhibition. So that was a pretty neat show to go see. A lot of people have enjoyed that one too. Plus, I want to remind folks that that's not all. We've also, in the past, in July, we did a cultural update on shows that are still going on. But the Fred Marchman show, Frederick A. Marchman Southern Pop, Sunday, tomorrow, the 17th, will be the last day at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, that's
that show will close. So if they haven't seen it, go get it. And now Southern Masters is up till January the 5th, and the Lee Hoffman A Legacy. And Southern Masters features Casey Downing, Bruce Larson, and Null. And Southern Legacy is about Lee Hoffman, former professor at the University of South Alabama in Spring Hill, has passed away. But these exhibitions are still available, like I said. But Fred, after tomorrow,
that's it.
No more Fred. And he's unique to our area in the southeast and Alabama. So If you haven't seen it, go see it. And of course, we've got our fair use credits tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to give a special thanks to the Mobile Museum of Art for a lot of the imagery we had tonight to share with folks. And like I said, I hope folks realize what we have here along the Gulf Coast and an opportunity to go see it.
Right.
So, we want to share that tonight for our cultural update. Now,
we did it.
We did it. Now, what's fun for me is next month, like we talked about a little bit at the beginning, will be our 9th anniversary
years
of ArtStreamLIVE. Like we said, we're too dumb to quit, too hard-headed to stop. So here we are. We're going to go for 9 years, and we'll wrap up something fun, maybe a review of what we've done during the year.
Right.
We'll figure something out. Anything you want to share tonight, David, before we go?
No.
Okay. Good enough. Fair enough.
I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you all for watching tonight. Enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the webcast. How can they reach us if they want to? Want to ask a question? Want to criticize us?
ArtStreamLIve@gmail.com.
There you go. Easy enough to do.
And there is ArtStreamLIve.com too.
And we will have this webisode posted up on Facebook and YouTube. Apparently our live streaming, just for whatever reason, did not want
Our
to function.
software does not like live streaming for some reason.
Well, we're going to work it out. We'll make it happen. So we'll get this up there for them to see.
Have to do some technical investigations.
All right. That we shall do. Okay. Well, thank you again. Good night.